your news in your community. This is KRBC, Abilene's local news at 10.
Good evening, I'm Randy Turner.
And I'm Samantha Jones. Thanks for joining us. When your kids are in school all day, a meal can make a difference in their learning experience.
Abilene ISD says this school year it's seeing an increase in the number of students who receive free or reduced lunches, which could be related to Abilene's job market.
KRBC's Jessica Rank spoke to district officials and a local economist about the meal program and why it's been on the rise the past few years. This is our top story tonight.
Nutrition plays a vital role in a student's success.
A student is not going to learn if they do not have the proper nutrition.
But more and more children in Abilene can't afford to pay for lunch on their own. This year, Abilene ISD reported 73% of its students are qualifying for free or reduced lunches, meaning their guardians make less than $22,000 a year.
So when I came to AISD, we were at about 67%. And so we have increased over the past 5 to 6 years. Again, that number will fluctuate just a little bit, but I would venture to suggest we will hover around 71% on average for the entire school year.
Of that 73%, more than 60% qualify for their meals to be completely paid for. And it's an increase that HSU economics professor John Hill contributes to the local economy.
It speaks to this community and the kind of jobs that we have, and that we, for the most part, are middle-class jobs or university jobs, hospital jobs, but we really don't have a lot of professional jobs in this community.
And while more are struggling to make enough money, Hill says those who do tend to move out of the district.
So you're losing people who are economically mobile, and the ones who stay may be disadvantaged.
In Abilene, Jessica Rank, KRBC, Abilene's local news.
Jessica, thank you. The school district says it pays for the lunches up front and then is reimbursed through the National School Breakfast and Lunch Program. Randy Turner over in the Weather Center for us now. It couldn't be much nicer out there this evening. How is that fall-like forecast looking?
Well, you know, autumn begins 1 week from this Saturday, so that's exciting. And the high temperature today here in Abilene was actually 4 degrees below normal. So we have some signs pointing to autumn weather, but we still have a little bit more summer yet to go. And confirmation of those pleasant temperatures out there this evening, mostly the middle 70s. That's kind of the norm right now over the big country tonight. Temperatures fairly uniform, very little variation from town to town. Satellite radar showing a lot of green. Much of that can be termed radar noise, but those are actual rain showers still moving through Austin at the state capitol tonight, but they're weakening and will continue to do so. Nothing organized, but there is a broad area of low pressure. It's trying to get its act together out in the Gulf of Mexico, and the National Hurricane Center still at this hour giving the area a 70% chance to possibly form a tropical depression. Hurricane hunters will likely fly into that area tomorrow to see what's going on out there. Back in the big country, here is your bus stop forecast. Off to school tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy skies and 68 degrees. And we're heading home with partly cloudy skies and 86 degrees. An update on Florence. She's getting weaker. And local rainfall potential for this weekend here in the big country, that's in 13 minutes.
All right, Randy, thank you. Getting into tonight's top headlines, a man is dead after being hit by an SUV this afternoon. The 54-year-old was taken to Abilene Regional where he passed away. The collision happening on Southwest Drive between Catclaw and Clack. Officers say the victim stepped off of the curb and then was hit. Police say alcohol was not a factor, but are investigating to determine if the driver was speeding. This full story is on our website.
And tonight we also have an update in an Abilene murder case. You'll remember 75-year-old Lynn Rushing was found dead at her home August 31st. Court documents now say a witness saw Rushing's ex-son-in-law, a suspect in the case, near the scene of her murder minutes before she was found dead. Court documents state the witness was jogging in Rushing's neighborhood around the time of her death, and he told police he saw a man matching the description of 50-year-old Gary Clinton. Clinton is now a possible suspect in the homicide investigation, but no official charges have been filed against him in connection to her murder. However, Clinton was arrested on other charges and remains in the Taylor County Jail on bonds totaling $60,000. As more details emerge, we will continue to update you first through our BCH2Go mobile app.
And in the next 3 days, Hurricane Florence is expected to make landfall. Tonight, North Carolina's governor is urging people in its path to move to safety. FEMA is already in the state and ready to provide relief. Governor Roy Cooper says supplies and equipment to help in the aftermath of the storm are already in place. The governor also stressed that lessons learned from previous storms like Hurricane Matthew have helped officials in their emergency planning.
This storm is so intense. We're doing things a little bit different this time in that we're distributing some of those supplies and equipment before the storm instead of afterward, because we know it's going to be pretty difficult to get everywhere immediately after the storm.
The U.S. Coast Guard is also prepared to help after Hurricane Florence sweeps through the southeast. 2 helicopter crews flew into Savannah, Georgia this morning to pre-stage for hurricane response efforts. The Coast Guard puts its people and equipment close to areas predicted to suffer damage from hurricanes so crews can respond quickly and save lives.
FEMA has activated Texas Task Force 1, so 16 members and water rescue equipment and boats are on their way to North Carolina. They will be in Raleigh and then deploy where needed.
In a water deployment like this, our job is going to be to go into those affected areas and evacuate personnel that are in either water that has already risen so that they're in danger, or is rising so that they are in danger. And it's our job to evacuate them from that situation and get them to a place of safe haven.
Hurricane Florence throwing wrenches in travel plans for Texans. One Texas-based short-term rental company is among those dealing with customers forced to change their arrangements.
And KRBC's Wes Rappaport has more on what you can do if your trip is interrupted by a natural disaster. All new tonight at 10.
As soon as the mandatory evacuation was released, we contacted the property owner.
Leslie Brake was supposed to be the maid of honor in the wedding for her best friend of 22 years until Hurricane Florence canceled this Texan's plans to travel to Charleston, South Carolina. She and her family booked a 5-bedroom house downtown for nearly $4 grand through a short-term rental site called VRBO. When evacuation orders forced the wedding to be rescheduled, Brake tried to work out a solution with the property owner. He said the cancellation policy was clear, no refunds.
He just said, nope, sorry, you should have purchased insurance for this, and there's nothing we can do.
Brake's receipts show the owner later canceled the reservation and only refunded the cleaning fee.
It's extremely frustrating. I mean, we were planning on going to the wedding, hell or high water.
VRBO's parent company, HomeAway, is based in Austin. We asked the company for an interview about disaster-related cancellations. They said their team was off-site most of the week. They did point us to some online resources, including this advisory urging customers to contact the rental owner or property manager to determine if it's safe or accessible, or to discuss rescheduling or refunding the stay.
They said, sorry, we don't have a policy on this, and it's up to the property manager.
And that's clear under HomeAway's terms of service. The company has set up a disaster relief line for customers to call, saying the company is, quote, ready to aid travelers in finding an alternative accommodation. Brake says she learned a valuable lesson.
Always purchase the travel insurance, even when you're positive that you'll be able to go.
Wes Rappaport, KRBC, Abilene's local news.
Wes, thank you. We looked into whether other short-term rental companies have plans in place for disaster cancellations. Airbnb says it's working with hosts to open up homes to displaced neighbors and relief workers for free until the 1st of October.
And happening in your community, United Way of Abilene kicking off its 2019 campaign, setting their biggest goal ever. The organization working to raise $2,054,000 to help nonprofits in Abilene. United Way also awarded Catalyst grants to local organizations totaling $60,000. Those 5 nonprofit organizations receiving that grant funding to continue their work in Abilene and the surrounding communities.
There's nothing more joyful than being able to reward and give money to nonprofits in town that are truly changing stories.
Representatives from the nonprofit agencies were welcomed into the Nickel for the kickoff this morning, where they signed books illustrated by Oliver Jeffers. Those books will now be given to nonprofit organizations who serve children in Abilene.
And also happening in your community, the Kiwanis Club handing out the Melvin Martin First Responder Award. Texas Ranger Scott Stephenson is a former Abilenian who attended Abilene High School and Hardin-Simmons University. Today he was honored for overall service, but it was his late father, also a law enforcement officer, who inspired him to pursue the profession.
Every day when I was a trooper and I would call him, he would call my radio number out to me over the phone. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing to know that I'm doing what he would have wanted to do.
The recipient of the award can give $1,000 to a charity. The Texas Ranger donating to the Abilene A&M Club in honor of his daughter who passed away while she was a student at Texas A&M.
And you may remember seeing this video. It shows a man tackling a suspect who tried to escape from police. Well, now Jess Anderson and Larry Zintek are being honored for helping the officer with the arrest. During tonight's Abilene Police graduation ceremony, they were awarded for going above and beyond to serve their community, but the heroes say they were just in the right place at the right time.
It happened so fast, it really did, that you really didn't have time to think, you know. I watched the video and it was like it was over a lot faster than I thought it was. And I don't feel like a hero or anything like that. I just did what any citizen do. If there's a problem like that, you know, I felt like they should help.
And another woman, Dawn Hester, was also recognized. Police say that she intervened when another woman was being attacked by a rape suspect.
And new tonight at 10, a Cisco teen diagnosed with one of the rarest childhood cancers, osteosarcoma. And for him and his family, it's been an uphill battle.
Well, September is National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, so Seth Wright and his family are using this time to bring awareness to research and hopefully a cure. KRBC's Febin Cassahoon has the story.
I didn't know how to react to it, so I was just quiet for a little bit.
15-year-old Seth Wright was diagnosed last November with osteosarcoma in his left arm.
It eventually went on to my lungs, both of them.
He's had surgery in both lungs, but is committed to staying Seth strong.
We're just gonna see if all the nodules in my lungs are gone, and if that is, and it doesn't come back, then I'll be cancer free.
He has undergone chemo for the last 9 months. The cancer was removed, but unfortunately came back.
What Seth has, there's no cure.
And it could be hard to find one. Only 4% of federal funding for cancer research goes to childhood cancers.
Second opinions don't always count on one doctor's opinion or one person.
We've gotten 3-4 opinions, and we have gone to 3 hospitals, and now we have the Cleveland, Ohio doctor that's the best in the world for sarcoma, and he's on board with our doctors in Temple.
And his parents are making sure the world knows their child is more important than that 4%.
Even when your kid's cancer free, there's still effects afterwards, like infertility, school problems, like learning problems, loss of hearing.
With the support of the Cisco community, family, and friends, they are able to stay strong.
It's brought us closer. I mean, we're with each other 24/7, so we're just together. I mean, it's just made us stronger.
In Cisco, Febin Cassahoon, KRBC, Abilene's local news.
Febin, thank you. This past weekend, the Make-A-Wish Foundation granted Seth and his family a trip to Hawaii. They leave next Tuesday. He picked Hawaii because he is half Polynesian and wanted to learn more about his culture. Coming up here on your local news, area churches coming together this week. It's all part of Revive Texas. We'll hear more about a mobile baptism. You might have seen it cruising around town.
Plus a good chance for rain this weekend, an early estimate of amounts. That's coming up next on Abilene's local news.
This is KRBC.